Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of our witnesses here today. Ms. Robinson, I want to follow up by trying to understand your answer to one of Senator Cruz's questions. And this is really a question, not a suggestion. Do I understand your position to be that there are two sexes, but there can be more than two genders?
Hey, folks. Welcome back to America Patriots, the home of common sense coffee and conversations that won't make your brain feel like a pretzel. Before we jump into today's political circus, go ahead and subscribe, hit that liberty-loving notification bell, and drop a like. Trust me, you don't want to miss future episodes where we try to decode Washington without needing a decoder ring or a bottle of aspirin. All right, let's dive in.
I wouldn't even say two, and we've got Dr. Lopez here as well, but there's also the definition of intersex. I think that often in these conversations we're conflating sex and gender, and I do want to affirm here that trans women are women. That is their gender.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. Do you make a distinction between sex and gender?
Yes, sir.
Okay, explain that. Do you think there are more than two sexes?
I believe that there's a definition for intersex as well that I want to acknowledge. But sex is assigned at birth.
I'm just trying to understand. I'm thoroughly confused. So you're born, I'm talking about biology, male, female, and what else?
I believe that intersex is also acknowledged. But again, I'm not a doctor here. What I can
say, what does intersex mean?
Is that there's a difference between sex and gender. And I think in these conversations, we're conflating the two.
Well, but I want to start with sex. Okay, there's male, there's female. When a baby's born, before the baby has had time to even have a sense of self, there's male, female, and intersex. There's a third sex.
I believe that is true, but I would defer to Dr. Lopez as I'm not a physician.
Okay. And how many genders are there?
I think the gender is expansive and the definitions are always growing. Today I can tell you, I talk to young people that talk about non-binary as...
More than five?
I think the gender is not a binary is what I'm trying to say.
Are there more than five genders? I'm just trying to understand. Are there more than five genders?
Well, I think that there was a time where women wearing pants didn't feel like it was appropriate for their gender, and yet I'm wearing pants today. I think that there are ways that we express our gender that are expansive.
Are there more than five?
I wouldn't subject myself to naming how many genders there are, but what I can say is that gender is a reflection.
Number?
Excuse me?
There's an infinite number of genders?
I think depending on your culture, there are a lot of different genders that exist. And I can also say that it's a term that's evolving. If you look at young people today, they really don't lean into the binary of only woman and man. So I think that it's incumbent upon us not to legislate on this, but create space for them to explore what their identities are, what their gender identities are.
Let's get back to athletics. I think I understand what you're saying. There are three sexes. Male, female, and intersex.
I believe that to be true, but again, I'm not a physician.
And there are an infinite number of genders because gender is a mental state.
Gender is about expression, and I think that there are a variety of ways that you can express your gender.
Okay, so there's infinite number. All right, let's go back to the biology. Male, female, boy, girl. Okay, biologically, do males have an advantage over females biologically in sports?
Again, I'm not a physician and I can't speak to that.
What's your real world experience?
It depends. There are some people who are born male that I'm faster than if I were to sprint against them, and some that I'm not. Some males that are taller than some women, and some that are shorter. You don't believe that a biological male has a physical advantage in sports over a biological female? Not as a definitive statement.
Give me an example. Well, no, I don't think. How many female members of the NBA do you see?
Well, I can say that, there's been this news article about men that think that they could beat Serena Williams in tennis, right? That they think that they could actually score a point on her. And it's just not the case. She is stronger than that.
What's your experience, Ben? Male, female?
Both Serena and Venus lost to the 203rd ranked male tennis player, which they're phenoms for women. My experience, my husband, he swam at University of Kentucky as well. In terms of accolades and in terms of national ranking, I was a much better swimmer than him. He could kick my butt any day of the week without trying.
Okay. I just think, Ms. Robinson, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. I think you lose a lot of credibility when you don't concede that a biological male has physical advantages over a biological female. I mean, I just think that's a proven fact, and you really hurt your credibility. I understand you want the world to be a better place. I do too, and I don't think people ought to be discriminated against because of an immutable characteristic. I don't. And I think that I think everybody ought to be free to be themselves. And what you do in your bedroom or what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult is nobody's business. But if what I do in my bedroom with a consenting adult, if I decide I want to tell somebody's child about it, then other people have rights too. And I think parents have rights. And I think biological females have rights to be able to compete fairly in sport, in sports. So I really think you hurt your credibility when you refuse to acknowledge that biological males have an advantage over biological females. It kind of makes me wonder about all your testimony. Thank you, Mr.
Senator
Chairman.
Kennedy. I'm sorry, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is that there is not a definitive advantage in all cases. Sir, I don't know if you believe that you could beat Serena Williams in tennis, but I probably think that that's not the case. There are not all cases where all men are physically superior to all women. And at the end of the day, in this conversation, we're not talking about that. We're talking about trans women who are, in fact, women, who deserve to play in a gender that matches their sports, who deserve all the benefits that Ms. Gaines is talking about. And as a cisgender black woman, I can say definitively that my womanhood is not threatened by a transgender person asserting hers as well.
Senator Hirono.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank all of the persons who are testifying today. For Ms. Robinson, do you know what?
So I watched the Senate hearing, and Senator Kennedy, God bless the man, was just trying to get a straight answer to a straight question. How many sexes are there? And how many genders are we talking about? Reasonable, right? A question you could answer while standing in line at Walmart. But apparently not today, folks. He asked the witness, Ms. Robinson, whether there are two sexes. Suddenly we're on a scenic detour through definitions, intersex, social constructs, pants, cultural evolution, everything except the number two. I'm sitting there like, did someone replace the hearing notes with interpretive poetry? Then Kennedy asked the next big one. How many genders are there? And instead of a number, we get a cosmic expansion pack. Infinity. Infinite genders. We went from biology class to Marvel multiverse in 3 seconds flat. I half expected her to pull out a chalkboard and start drawing string theory diagrams. Meanwhile, Kennedy is trying to keep this thing grounded on planet Earth. The man's facial expressions alone deserve an award. You could see him thinking, I'm just trying to get clarity, not a TED Talk on the universe. Then it gets even better. They start talking sports. Now, look, you all know I love sports. I love fair competition. I love not getting flattened on a track by someone built like a refrigerator on legs. Kennedy asked the witness if biological males have physical advantages over biological females in sports. Basic question. A question every coach since the dawn of gym class could answer. But nope, she dodges like she's training for Olympic fencing. Instead of just acknowledging the obvious, we get anecdotes about Serena Williams, cultural examples, and a long walk around the park. Now, don't misunderstand me. Serena Williams is a legend, one of the greatest athletes of all time. But even she has acknowledged the biological differences in male and female competition. This isn't controversial, it's physiology. Kennedy presses again, because the man has the patience of a saint, and still no clear answer. And he finally says what everyone watching is thinking. When you can't even acknowledge basic biology, it makes the rest of your testimony shaky. And he's right. You can care about people, you can respect people, you can support people's freedom to live how they want, and still acknowledge biological reality. Those ideas aren't enemies. Personally, I think Kennedy handled it with more calm and courtesy than most of us would have had. He stuck to facts, tried to get clarity, stayed composed, and refused to pretend that up is sideways just because someone else insists on it. At the end of the day, fairness in sports matters. Integrity in women's athletics matters. And respecting biology doesn't take away anyone's dignity. It just keeps competition fair and honest. All right, Patriots. Tell me what you think in the comments. Was Kennedy asking reasonable questions? Did the answers help or just confuse everyone further? And how many genders do you think are actually on the menu? Keep it clean. My moderators are patriotic, but easily stressed. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join the America Patriots community, where common sense still has a heartbeat. Thanks for watching. God bless you. God bless your family. And God bless the United States of America. See you next time.